Hello, I'm Eros from Civic Roots presenting our first podcast series, Voice for the Voiceless. In this podcast, we interview people whose history is being forgotten, and it is our focus to preserve this history's oral culture and archive the experiences of the most vulnerable people in America. In this first collection of podcasts, we hear the experiences of a black Southern family who recall their history since the Civil War, through the Jim Crow era and the Civil Rights Movement. Our guest speaker today is Raymond Macon Jr., an eclectic educator drawing lessons and lectures from a range of subjects including science, civics, and history. Throughout his life, Raymond has dedicated much of his time to educating people on Black American history. He explains the struggles of his ancestors that have been passed down for 130 years, which parallels the reality of American history. The recording of this audio is patched together based on methods of recording. Please forgive the mistakes that we have made recording on a phone and microphone, and I hope you see the quality of the content in this interview. So without further ado, here is Raymond Macon Jr. Now, your last name, Macon, has a history of its own, and if you could tell us a little bit more history of the last name Macon and how it relates to high powers of governorship.
Well, I will. The man Macon who came to the United States, to America, I should say, he arrived here in 17th century. His name Macon is an alias. Never know what his real name was. I shared that with my family. I'm going to share it with the white Macons when I finally meet them. My brother sent to Ancestry.com a DNA sample, and they were through that sample to trace our bloodlines. Macon is a French name. There's not a drop of French blood in us. Our ancestors, our European ancestors, can be traced to Northern and Central Europe, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales.
Interesting.
And either Norway or Iceland.
Okay.
So those are my white antecedents. I believe what happened to this man who called himself Macon was that he came to France and took up Huguenots there. And when Huguenots had their religion banned in France, he left and went to England. And in England, he decided he was going to make his fortune elsewhere, and he got on a ship and sailed to Virginia, arriving there sometime in the mid-17th century.
Wow.
He thrived in Virginia. There are a couple of islands off the Virginia coast that bear his name, Macon. Then he grew wealthy and powerful, and his family grew and grew, out of Virginia into North Carolina. And in North Carolina, the Macons held high office. First, one of them was elected to the House of Representatives. During his years of serving in the House, he rose to become Speaker of the House. Then he went on and served in the U.S. Senate. Other Macons left Carolina, migrated to South Carolina. South Carolina, they spread into Georgia. The city of Macon, Georgia, is named for my family. And then from Georgia into Alabama. So these Macons, these white Macons, had accomplishments. My niece has met some of the white Macons.
Oh, wow. I thought she reached out to them, but I didn't know she met them.
Well, my sister-in-law reached out to them, to inform there were black Macons. That came as a complete shock.
Yeah.
My great-grandmother Pearl had a name, had a curse placed on her name, and it was never mentioned again. They had no idea who she was. They had no idea she even lived. So they had no notion of these black Macons. And my sister-in-law reached out to them and told them about us.
The following section of Raymond's interview left out several words and phrases. Because it may be hard to understand the telephone quality of conversation, I have added subtitles to this section below.
But then my niece actually met them. Bill.
Wow.
I asked her, what was that like? And she said they were very nice and kind, and glad to have met her, and told her that not only were white Macons in Mobile, Alabama, there's another white Macons, relatives, here in Birmingham. So, I'm going to go down to Mobile first, Macons down there, and then reach out to the white Macons here in Birmingham.
How many of you are going to see the white Macons in Mobile?
I will go with my nephew.
Okay.
And my niece is there too, so it'll probably be just the three of us who will go see them. As I've told the family, I am not expecting an invitation to Thanksgiving dinner. But what I am hoping for is that we can knit together these different parts of our family and acknowledge that. I think a lot of good can come out of it. So that's the idea, anyway. We'll see how it works.
That's a great idea. Raymond, can you tell me about your brother's experiences?
Well, he was born like I was, and our other sister, Cynthia, in Pennsylvania, in Phoenixville, outside of Philadelphia. But he doesn't remember that. He was only 4 years old when we moved first to North Carolina, and then eventually, when my father retired from the United States Army, came to Birmingham. My father, a house here that was only 2 doors from where he was born, and a block from where my mother was born. So came back to the neighborhood, literally. So for my brother, practically all of his years were spent, except for the first 4, all the rest of them were spent here in the South, North Carolina, or Alabama, Georgia. He moved to Georgia in 1989. There were a lot of black people making it to Atlanta in particular, and that's where my brother went. He went to Atlanta because there were opportunities there. The city was growing and thriving. You could make something of yourself there in Atlanta, especially with a growing black population. But my brother, his teen years, from age of 6 until the age of 24, my brother lived here in Birmingham. And Birmingham is not the Birmingham of my grandparents. Segregation was gone. There were all kinds of opportunities. Birmingham had elected a black mayor, and in fact, blacks had become the majority population in Birmingham, just as they have become the majority population in Atlanta. So there were opportunities available and open to my brother growing up in the late 1970s and on into the 1980s in Birmingham that, say, my father, my grandfather would not have had. So it was different for him. But even though it was different and in many ways better, he still had to deal with bigotry and racism, prejudice, still here. And so you had to stand up for yourself, you had to assert yourself. You could do it without the kind of danger that my father or my grandfather would have faced. The Klan would not have come and burned a cross in your yard. But white folks are still hostile. They still don't like what has happened and what is going on. Not every white person was like that. Many have accepted the different order of things that now prevails. But still, you can run into traces and remnants of the old racist attitudes. They haven't gone away. They're still here. So for my brother, it was easier growing up in a Birmingham that now was a majority black than it was for our father in a Birmingham where white folks were the overwhelming majority and did everything they could to stifle any kind of free initiative or thinking on the part of blacks.
And your brother John, he worked as a football coach?
Yeah. My brother John played high school football at Parker High School. Parker High School itself has a very, very, very interesting and rich history. Parker, in its heyday, was the largest educational institution and establishment for black people, not just in Birmingham, Alabama, or even the United States for that matter. It was the largest in the world.
Wow.
So that's where my brother played high school football, got named to the, as honorable mention, to the Alabama All-State football team. Went on to play college football at Tennessee State, an HBCU, Historic Black College University, for those who aren't unfamiliar with those initials. So he played there. Then when he finished school, he came home to Birmingham, worked for the Alabama Department of Youth Services, and coached football. She enjoyed immensely, and was a great influence on the young men that he came in contact with. But he died tragically, suddenly, without warning. Died of a massive heart attack. That was in August of 2022. And as you know, my brother Joe died on January 3rd.
Yeah.
I might also mention, too, the success that my brother Joe had was huge. And here's part of his epitaph, or his eulogy, I should say. Mayor Joseph Lorenzo Macon, Joe, passed away on January 3rd, 2025, after a long, hard-fought battle with colon cancer. Joe was born on October 8th, 1965, to Raymond and Jacqueline Macon in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. Graduated from Ramsey High School in Birmingham, Alabama, where he participated in theater and choir. He then went on to study engineering and political science at Auburn University and his beloved Morehouse College. Joe married his soulmate and best friend Jennifer Jewel Macon on March 31st, 1995. Their love of classical jazz and cooking instantly bonded them forever. They had two beautiful sons, Julian and John. My nephew John is named for our brother, John. Although Joe worked in the insurance industry his entire life, his love for his community inspired him to serve on the East Point Planning and Zoning Commission for 3 consecutive terms. In 2006, came the first African-American male mayor of East Point. His achievements were many, including successfully lobbying for $7.5 million in federal infrastructure funds and implementing the East Point corridors to spur downtown development. He was also responsible for bringing in several distribution centers and national hotel chains. And he served on the U.S. Conference of Mayors. So my brother did a lot.
Yes, he did.
And he found what he wanted. He found the life that he wanted in Georgia, in East Point. Despite all the good years and the good times and everything in East Point, Joe and his wife Jennifer fell head over heels in love with Colorado. Joe told me that he says, I finally see why. I finally see it. Colorado's incredible. His wife, told me during a day spent in Boulder. And I remember her, how did she put it? She said, I cannot put my finger on it, but there's something surreal about this place.
Mm.
I can't identify it, but I said, and I laughed. I said, do you feel that way after being in Boulder for only a few hours? I think it was like for me here for 30 years.
Right.
She said, it must have been incredible. I said, it was. Colorado had worked its magic on them. I had a visit yesterday from a friend that I knew when I was working here in Birmingham at Western Electric back in the 1970s. Came by and visited, talked a long time. I showed him some of the pictures on my phone from Colorado and saw. I just told him that it is a remarkable place. I've been careful since I've come back. I tell friends and family that Colorado is different. That's the way I choose to express it. It's different. I show some of them pictures. They're the ones who then turn to me and say, wonder you want to go back. Understand it now. It's incredible. Georgia is a wonderful, but it's different, as is Alabama, and that's what I stress with my family. Some of the family want to come out to Colorado. My niece wants to get to the top of Mount Elbert. Her bucket list is to reach the highest point in each of the 50 states.
Wow.
But getting back to the family, my family here, it has been a rich and varied history, both for the black and white Macons.
I hear that.
And so it's another reason for us to get together, so we can tell those stories. We can see how we each have played a part in the history of our family here in the United States.
And I would love to encourage you, take some recordings of conversations that you have with your family talking about life and history.
Yeah, we should. Because if we don't, it's going to be lost.
Yeah.
Both my brothers have died young, but they have died, and they've taken those memories with them. And so, yes, I do have a responsibility, I feel, to share those kinds of things.
I'm really hoping to join you in April.
I would like that very much. So coming here and seeing the 16th Street Baptist Church, or first White House of the Confederacy, the Civil Rights Institute here in Birmingham. I wish more Americans could see these things, because our history is being twisted and warped and distorted and forgotten.
Yeah.
I mean, when people talk about the statues to the Confederate generals and should they be taken down, and I thought, well, I've told people, no, they shouldn't be put in a place of honor. There was nothing honorable about what they defended. But we do not want to forget who these men were and what they fought for. And we have to recognize that.
Yeah.
Some of us may discover, as we have in my family, that our connection to the Civil War is much closer than we thought it was.
Mm.
And so it's important that be remembered.
Yeah. It's very important.
Yeah. Interesting to me to talk to my great-great-uncle. Why did you serve under Stonewall Jackson? Robert E. Lee.
Mm.
He was lucky to come home alive. He was captured at Gettysburg. And Union surgeons amputated his arm. It was a POW exchange with the Confederate Army, and he was returned to them, and they discharged him. He had only one arm, so he was of no use to them. And he returned home to Mobile, Alabama. That's where he died. 1885. So my great-grandmother was a young woman then.
Yeah.
She doubtless heard all the stories about the lost cause,
Mm.
which is what the Confederate sympathizers call the Confederacy, the lost cause. So see something may very well surprise you. I visited here in 1987, brought a friend with me from Aurora. Peter recounted how odd and how wild it was. Raymond, speaking Southern accent. Raymond, black English. Raymond using all of these very, very weird and strange expressions. Southerners have a distinct way of talking and expressing themselves. And so for my friend Dan, he said I had never seen that from Raymond before.
Huh.
And I said, well, living in Boulder, there's no reason.
Right.
No, my family's not there. But here I was surrounded by family, and yes, I naturally lapsed back into the dialect
Yep.
and the accent. So that'll be something interesting for you to hear and see. Visit down south. Corn grows tall, and the folks say y'all.
And the folks say y'all. I hope you enjoyed listening to a rich history of Raymond's family lineage. There are many black families that have experienced the same atrocities told here today. Many black Americans have suffered far worse, enduring violence and gruesome murders of loved ones by people committed to their unknown hatred passed down in white Southern culture. This is the end of our interview with Raymond Macon Jr. There's still more that we are looking to uncover of black American history. In May, I will be traveling to Alabama to talk with other members of Raymond's family and conduct research into black history that our government is trying to actively erase. There are more stories from Voice for the Voiceless to look forward to in the near future. We have links in the description for our social program charity, along with other content and Faceless Studio content. If you would like to learn more about Raymond Macon Jr. and what he is doing, you can follow him in the link below called MindFlex Tutoring. Does the sight of numbers and symbols fill you with all kinds of anxiety? Maybe you like math and you want to learn more or get even better at it. Regardless of your situation, at MindFlex Tutoring, we are ready to assist you with your questions, needs, and goals in using mathematics. We show our clients how mathematics works. We give them critical thinking skills that will enable them to address mathematics with competence and confidence that will make them proficient. Working with us, our clients discover the magic and power that mathematics contains and how their use will empower them to make discoveries and achievements that are both creative and remarkable. Please contact us and let us know how we can assist you further. Thank you. Thanks for listening, and remember, never give in, never give out, and never give up.